All right, welcome back to the Project K podcast, and today I'm joined by a very special guest. Hails all the way from Okilangi, all the way from Auckland. I have Eliezer here. Thanks for being here today, bro. All right, so for those that don't know you, just give a little intro about yourself. Maybe, you know.
My name's Eliezer. I'm a singer, rapper, songwriter, dabble in a bit of production, mixing as well. I wear a few hats. Co-founder of Triple One Music Group, a collective based in Auckland. A bunch of amazing creatives, and I just like making great art.
Awesome, bro. Thanks for being here. So let's talk a bit about your background. You are British?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So when did you move to New Zealand?
I moved to New Zealand in 2011
2011.
when I was 13.
Yeah. And whereabouts in the UK are you from?
London, represent.
You watch football?
A little bit, yeah.
You support anyone?
Unfortunately, I support Arsenal.
Oh, damn. Then I probably shouldn't mention who I support then.
Tottenham? I gotta go, guys.
So, have you always been a performer?
Yeah, I'd say so. As a kid, I was super loud and out there and wasn't afraid to get in front of people.
Yeah. And music, is that always something you've wanted to pursue?
Not really, to be honest. I was like not very musically inclined most of my life, but I loved writing. I always enjoyed writing poetry, enjoyed English as a subject in school,
Yeah.
and then got into rap music when I was like 13, and I would like rap along to my favorite rappers' songs, like trying to learn all the words to like Love the Way You Lie by Eminem, you know? But never really thought about making music myself until I was like 20.
Yeah. So, yeah, you wanted to take it seriously when you were about 20. How old are you now?
25.
25. So, in the 5 years that you've been doing music seriously, how have you found it navigating your way through the music industry? Like, what kind of challenges have you come under and, like...
A lot of challenges.
Yeah.
Just learning all the different things you need to learn as an independent artist is massive in itself, and then also understanding the business side of things is a huge challenge too. Like, I feel like I really only got a grasp on branding last year, got a grasp on marketing this year, and then also a big challenge is figuring out who you want to work with and what kind of people you want to be around, because there's some weirdos in the music industry. I'm sure you'll find weirdos everywhere, but I had some bad experiences early on which kind of put me off collaborating and stuff like that, but eventually found my way and found cool people.
And you think that helps with your brand as well, like learning who to work with and who not to work with, and these kind of challenges? Do you think they make you like a better artist yourself?
Oh, absolutely, bro. Yeah. So learning who I want to work with showed me what kind of people I want to be around and what kind of person I am and what I represent and what I stand for, and that obviously translates into the branding as well. And that's the thing, man. Like, throughout the entire journey, you're going to have a bunch of challenges, a bunch of trials and tribulations, and you just got to learn and grow and evolve through it, and it'll make you a better person and a better artist.
Yeah. So that, would you say that kind of contributes to the kind of music that you make and how that changes over the years?
I'd say so, yeah. Definitely the more I evolve as a person, the more the music will evolve, and the kind of music that I make does too. But at the same time, I've always been quite versatile in my sound, and the kind of music that I make is all over the place at times. And I think that's just because I like to listen to a bunch of different stuff, and I think that would be the way I create art forever.
Yeah. And that brings me to my next point. Your style of music, I'm very intrigued in the way and how much of a catalog you have, and the kind of music that you make when it goes from either, for lack of better terms, kind of like soft spoken rap compared to like your hard hitting stuff. So kind of like contrast between Memories or Fight Club.
Yeah,
Two
yeah.
very different extremes, but like you said yourself, you've got a very versatile like rapping style,
Yeah.
and that's something that I really admire about you as an artist.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah. let's talk about memories though, because it seems like a very personal song because there are some like audio snippets of your family in there as well.
Yeah.
Are they very supportive in this dream that you have?
Absolutely, bro. Ever since day one, my parents have been like, chase your dreams, you know? And when I listen back to the music I was making when I first started, the fact that they were like, yeah, bro, run with this, like, is crazy. So they've always been really, really super supportive, yeah.
And are they in New Zealand as well?
Yeah, they're in New Zealand, yeah.
They ever go to your shows?
They went to my first one in New Zealand, but they haven't been to another one since. But maybe we'll get them at the Auckland stop of the tour.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So you're in Wellington, you're on this North Island tour. How are you finding it so far? Like Hamilton show was on Saturday, is that right?
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, how was that?
It was good, man. Honestly, like, I don't know what kind of pull I'll have in each different city, so it's always nerve-wracking coming to a new city and trying to promote the show and trying to get people invested in the brand. And, you know, people have a bunch of different things they can do on a Saturday night or a night out, right? So it's trying to get them to, you know, pay for a ticket and come show love is not an easy thing. So we were a little skeptical on how many ticket sales we'd have and stuff like that, but it was amazing. We had like 50, 60 tickets sold, which is like way more than I expected, and we met a bunch of really cool people, so it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah. And when did you arrive in Wellington?
Last night at like 2 a.m. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being here on like such short notice as well. Like,
Pleasure, bro.
so what else have you got planned for the rest of Wellington? I mean, you got the show on Thursday.
Yeah.
You're gonna see what the city has to offer, or?
Yeah, so we've got quite a bit planned actually. I think we've got an interview tomorrow. I'm going on the Windy workshop. We're also going to try like a bit of busking, handing out business cards, putting up posters, just doing a massive guerrilla marketing run. Maybe shoot some content, and then the show on Thursday.
Nice.
Probably a couple other things in the mix there too.
Yeah.
What do you recommend for us to go check out in Wellington?
Oh, damn.
Put you on the spot.
Honestly, I feel like I should be better at this because I used to work at a museum, and that was the number one question I got asked by tourists. I mean, Mount Victoria Lookout is pretty awesome. It's a very, very, it's an awesome view once you get to the top. It's a bit of a bitch to drive up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd recommend that. Maybe the museum as well, if you're into that. What else? You a Lord of the Rings fan?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, maybe wear the workshops if you got
Cool.
the time. Yeah, but heaps of cafes, heaps of restaurants, a lot of chicken joints. I mean, I'm not sure.
I heard the thrift shopping here is pretty good too.
Yeah, man, down Cuba Street, they got a lot of good stores down there. It's a very hot spot in Wellington. It's very much, it almost is like the definition of Wellington.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really cool spot to go.
Dope.
And it's close to where you're performing as well, Valhalla.
Perfect.
Yeah. But if you don't enjoy that kind of stuff, don't blame me, okay? I'm just trying to...
Put it out there.
Yeah. So Wellington on the Wellington show on Thursday, Auckland show, when is that one?
The next Saturday, I think. Shaden, is that right?
May 12th.
May 12th.
Okay, May 12th. Have you considered maybe heading down south?
I would love to. I just don't know if monetarily it's viable right now. Yeah.
So just trying it out in the North Island as well.
Yeah. Absolutely want to tour the South Island as well. And I've been there once before, just traveling in a van, and it's so gorgeous. So I definitely want to go back.
No, yeah, it's awesome. Let's talk about one of your songs, Certified Professional Dreamer. What does the dream look like for Eliezer?
Black Rolls Royce, 5 bad bitches, traveling the world with my... I'm just listing like the lyrics in the song.
Yeah.
Nah. Realistically, just making a living off doing what I love. Like if I could pick the dream, it would just be traveling the world, touring the entire world, shooting content, creating cool moments with people that I love. And I'm already kind of doing that right now. So maybe I'm living the dream already. But it'd be cool to go to like Paris and Japan and like play to 1,000 people. Like that'd be insane.
No, yeah, the process is always very enjoyable.
Yeah, man.
Have you thought about maybe heading back to the UK?
To live?
Yeah, and
Like for music?
yeah, a bit of both.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I've been back and the life that I had is no longer there. So it'd kind of be starting from scratch. Apart from like a few friends and some family.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's a place I'd want to live anymore. I think it was a great place for me to grow up and it toughened me up a bit.
Yeah.
But it's not a nice place. It's like where I grew up, at least, it's very grey and rains all the time. I think New Zealand's beautiful, so I think I'm probably just going to stay here. In terms of music, I'm sure like I would definitely have a bit more opportunity there. But at the same time, with the internet now, I think you can be successful from anywhere.
Yeah, that's the good thing about this kind of era that we're in at the moment, especially with independent artists. They have so much at their disposal in terms of like, you know, making their own music, only being able to just rely on themselves to push them. It does make it a bit harder as well. Do you find difficulty being an independent artist? And
Yeah, it's definitely a harder path, but a more rewarding one
Yeah.
because you do have to learn all these different skills, but then you've just learned a bunch of different skills and you've created all of this value in yourself. Like if I, let's say, decide tomorrow that I no longer want to do music, I can go to any business and be like, I know how to market a product, I know how to brand a product, I know how to create a team, and there's all these skills that I've learned from being an independent artist that is transferable to life in general. And this way I'm going to build leverage and own all my masters, so I'll probably make more money doing it this way as well. So there's definitely a lot of hurdles in the way, and it would be great if I could just hand everything off to a big team like Universal, could just pump everything out like they've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
They'd probably have teams selected for each specific role that I'm trying to take on by myself. But at the same time, like I said, they'll take 80% of everything I have, so
Yeah.
I'm good on that.
One thing I like about you as an artist is the way you've been able to market yourself and the kind of, I'd call it very unorthodox ways
Thanks,
of
man.
marketing yourself. One of them being you tying yourself to the L&P bottle for a whole 24 hours. And
Yeah.
just tell me about the thought process of deciding that you want to do that. You know?
Yeah. So at Triple One Music Group, we have weekly/bi-weekly meetings. It's actually from the book Think and Grow Rich, the mastermind group, and you meet regularly. And I don't even know how it started. I think I brought forward that I wanted to market it in a different way. We've been doing Instagram and Facebook ads for so long. And I was thinking, how can we put our time and energy and our money into something that has the potential to go viral, rather than like doing what everyone else is doing that we know works, but everyone's doing it, so it doesn't work in a massive way. Let's think of a way that we can generate a bunch of attention on ourselves and the music in a way that hasn't been done before and has the potential to like really hit the news or, you know, get covered on blogs and magazines and whatever it is, right? Like something that people will actually want to talk about. And so we were just brainstorming ideas, and then there was probably a bunch of really terrible ideas. And then someone said, let's tie him to a landmark. And then someone else said, let's tie him to the L&P bottle. And then it kind of just like spiraled from there.
Yeah.
And then we were like, nah, let's like actually do it. Yeah.
So like, what did you do to, or what kind of stuff happened to kind of like fill that time? Like I remember you had like some kind of wheel thing, is that right?
Yeah, so we had because obviously it's a tourist destination. We knew that a bunch of people were going to come through, which was part of the reason why we wanted to do it there. But at the same time, there's going to be a bunch of families and people who are expecting a photo at the bottle. So we were like, how can we make this fun and interactive for them as well? So it's not just like, hey, look at me. It's like, let's have something together where we can all participate and have fun. And so we got this wheel with a bunch of different challenges on the wheel. They got to come up, spin it, and whatever it landed on, I then had to do. So there was like eating a chili pepper or blindfolding me or tie my hands or throw water balloons at me. So all these different fun things that could happen.
Yeah. What was your least favorite one?
Bro, the chilies was horrible. And I had to do like 5 in the first 3 hours.
Jesus.
And like,
damn.
I was in pain, like proper pain. Because like one, it was like, okay, this is all right. And then the second one came around, I was like, okay, this is getting pretty out of hand.
Yeah.
And then it just kept piling on. And then I got to do it in front of a bunch of people. I'm sweating, I'm uncomfortable, my back's hurting, my mouth hurts. And then we're not going to talk about the day after as well, after 5 chilies, you know.
Oh.
There's a lot of suffering involved.
It was worth it though for the marketing.
Absolutely, bro. And the thing is, it's like, it made a cool memory, you know. And
Yeah.
a moment that all of us will remember. And I hope one day I'll drive past Paeroa with my family in the car and be like, that bottle, I was tied to that for 24 hours, you know?
5 chilies.
Yeah,
5
exactly.
chilies. I like to see someone else do that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so
Yeah.
it was cool.
You also I can't remember when it was, but you also did a performance out in, was it outside Commercial Bay? Is it?
Yeah.
How was that?
Nerve-wracking, man, because I felt like I'm kind of just intruding on people's day a little bit.
Yeah.
It was kind of just like a big, hey, look at me, I'm dropping an album.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like scary for that, because I've performed in front of more people or lots of people before, but it's like they're there to see a show. Whereas these people, they're there to just go shopping and have a good time out with their family or friends or whatever. So I just didn't know how it was going to be received. I also was just scared that I'll just be standing there in front of a bunch of people and they're just like staring at me and no one's like participating or caring that I'm there.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it went pretty well. On the day, I would have wanted more people to come up and participate in it, but I still think we reached a few hundred people and handed out a bunch of business cards and stuff like that. So overall, it was a great success, and the video did very well as well. So I'm stoked.
Could you maybe share any other future marketing that you may be doing?
We've been brainstorming a few. Nothing's like set in stone for the next one, but I have this one idea of busking at the same spot every day for 30 days and just seeing what happens. See like if we can generate like a big crowd for the last day, or maybe some big moment happens. But at the very least, I did notice from the Commercial Bay one that like busking at that spot for an hour, we reached a few hundred people. So if I did that every day for a month, that's a few thousand, and then the content we can make out of that as well could reach even more. So that's an idea I'm dabbling with. Probably not going to tie myself to anything for a little while. But yeah, definitely going to have at least a couple more stunts in the bag for 2023.
No, yeah, that's cool, man. I want to go back to your music. You've brought out quite a lot of music. Is that just the plan? Do you just want to release as much music as you can?
For a while it was. Honestly, I felt like I thought that the way that I was going to blow up was going to just drop a bunch of stuff, like kind of like the Rust strategy, like the song a week. I did that for a while. In 2020, we dropped like 40 songs. But realistically, now that I look back on it, it was just me perfecting my craft. Like I honestly feel like, especially mix-wise, because I mix all my own stuff, I didn't really get the sound I was after till like 2022. The start of 2022, I feel like everything from then on was like really polished. And don't get me wrong, there's still songs before then that I think are great and have a lot of potential. But I think a lot of the dropping a bunch of music was me really just figuring out my sound and perfecting my craft. And I think moving forward now, after Kingdom Comes dropped, we're going to focus a little more on creating really cool content.
Yeah.
But I definitely wanted to build a massive catalog because I knew that once I blew up, I knew I wanted a big catalog for when I blew up so that we would eat. You know what I mean? Like we'd do very well, and then when the labels finally catch on, it's like, well, we've got a massive catalog. If you're going to buy us out, we need a bag. You know?
Yeah.
Rather than like going into a label meeting with 3 songs out and having no leverage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So releasing that much music, what's the process that you go through? Do you have like your own personal like ritual or just certain things that you do when you're writing your music?
Oftentimes it's I'll get the beat first, and then wherever the beat takes me,
Yeah.
I'll let like the emotion of the beat or whatever the beat draws out of me. I kind of go into like a flow state, and sometimes I'll write a chorus first, sometimes I'll write a verse first. Sometimes I'll just have sounds in my head that I know I want on the song,
Yeah.
and then I'll figure out how the words or the concepts fit the sounds afterwards. But it 95% of the time starts with the beat, then I'll write the song on it, and then I'll go record it in the studio.
Okay. Yeah. Going through some of your songs, I notice that your songs are produced by someone who pretty much does the majority of your songs as
Yeah.
well. Do you find so I'm just gonna say the producer is Tino.
Correct. Shout out Tenno. Sitting right there.
How long have you known him?
Oh man, I've known Jake, also known as Tenno. It feels strange for me still to call him Tenno.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't call me Eliezer, he just calls me Ellie. But I've known him since I was like 13, 14, playing video games together. Yeah.
And do you find that because you've known each other for so long, that contributes a lot to how you two work together as well?
Absolutely. Like, honestly, I don't know if I'd be able to do what I do with Tenno with anyone else, because it's just so much like brutal honesty with each other, and like trust in each other's process. And there's probably like, I can count on one hand how many people I genuinely trust the feedback on a song from, and there's no one I value that feedback more than Tenno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So would you continue this ongoing journey with Tenno? Would you venture out to other producers as well? Is there any others that you would want to make music with? Or?
Yeah, so I have worked with a couple other producers in the past, like my friend Milanovic, and I've produced some tracks myself as well. And another friend of mine helped us on Fight Club. But I think me and Tenno are going to be making music together till we're like 60, you know, if all goes well.
Yeah. No, that's good to hear, because, you know, it's not every day that you have one of your close friends producing for you and you guys working so closely together. You can definitely tell that that the music you make together, they really complement each other.
Thank you, bro.
You can tell in all the songs that you guys make together. So that's awesome, man. That's awesome to hear.
And he's also super, super versatile, so it forces me to kind of jump outside of my box. Like, I wonder if he wasn't my producer, would I just have ended up making rap music the whole time? I don't know, you know? So the fact that he makes all this weird and wacky stuff, it forces me to kind of like be a little more creative and try different things, and we've developed the sound together. So I think we just like musically complement each other very well.
That's awesome, man. Is there any other genres that you would probably delve into? Maybe like, I don't know, like pop music or like dance music, EDM or something like that? Or are there any other genres that interest you?
Yeah, man. So I've dabbled in a few. Obviously, a lot of my stuff is rooted in hip hop and rap, and R&B and stuff like that. But I really grew up listening to Ed Sheeran and John Mayer and Jack Johnson and stuff like that. So very like singer-songwriter kind of music.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's also why I like Mac Miller so much, because his is kind of like singer-songwriter mixed with hip-hop as well. A lot of his, like, even like Circles, right? So I think I definitely want to one day make like a singer-songwriter album, kind of like Plus or Continuum.
Yeah.
Plus by Ed Sheeran, Continuum by John Mayer. Yeah, that's definitely on the bucket list.
Yeah. Would you consider making a Eliezer Tenno album?
I feel like our albums are Eliezer Tenno albums. What I really want for Tenno is to make a Tenno album where it's like all Tenno beats and each beat has a different artist on it.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really, really cool. But yeah, like all of our albums, I'd say Eliezer Tenno, especially this latest one was like, we did so much of the production together. Like obviously he did the majority of the beat, but like on every track we would be collaborating on production elements and vocal elements together. So it's really like a collab album at the core of it. Yeah.
Yes. Let's talk about the Auckland scene at the moment. To be honest, I'm very, very unfamiliar with it at the moment. Like, what's the music scene like up there?
It's having a renaissance, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of cool stuff coming out now, and a lot of success is brewing, especially with like Sempra and Lil Bubblegum and Latoa, and I just think there's a bunch of dope music coming out, and I just wish Kiwis paid more attention to Kiwi music, because a lot of the success is coming from overseas. But Chase Main from Hamilton, he opened at the Hamilton show, made a point to me that I didn't really think about this, but I think a lot of the music that has success in New Zealand when it comes to like rap hip hop is like harder stuff. So I think like the aesthetic rap it's not actually popping off crazy in New Zealand, but the New Zealand rappers that are popping off are more that sort of genre, and it is the harder stuff. And then obviously Kiwis love their D&B, so it's quite high energy music that I think is resonating with people. But there's some really dope R&B, there's some really dope rap, and I think we're gonna see a bunch of really cool artists getting into the spotlight soon.
Tell me about the artists in Auckland, like both hip hop and R&B, that you see as ones that are taking off right now, or that have got a lot of potential to go far.
Cool. Yeah, obviously Lil Bubblegum, Latoa and Sempra, the numbers are crazy, like millions of streams, and that's really dope. I also personally listen to more of the like traditional rap stuff, so I like Church and AP, Mellow Downs, Aiden Fine, like where it's more like lyrical bars. Obviously Ash Supe is on the come up. If I had to bet my money on anyone, I'd put it on Ash Supe. Obviously he's like a brother to me, but at the same time I've never seen someone who's managed to keep up with me in terms of work rate. And he's got a really, really cool sound, and he produces and he mixes. So if I had to put my money on anyone, it's him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you know any R&B artists up in Auckland? Because down here in Wellington, I can probably count on my hand how many I know.
Yeah.
It's very... I wouldn't say it's an unpopular genre, because it's very popular. I just don't see a lot of artists, or at least down here, venturing towards that kind of genre. So, do you know anyone in Auckland?
Yeah, well, Sam V is really dope, but he kind of just left Auckland. He just went to America. But he's got an incredible voice. Then Elena as well. The whole YSO collective dabbles in like R&B and hip hop.
Yeah.
They make really cool music. Would you say Teeks is R&B? Yeah, Teeks is R&B?
He's soul.
He's soul?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, he's Auckland based, and he's like one of my favorite New Zealand artists as well. But yeah, I don't know if I can like list more than like a few as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm also way more tapped into the rap and hip hop scene.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Um,
Yeah, Hales too. Yeah, I haven't heard too much of his stuff though. I don't think he's dropped that much music.
do you? So you mentioned Sam V.
Yeah.
Jump ship. Do you find it important for artists in New Zealand to kind of just build up their brand and their kind of like profile within New Zealand for an extended period of time before actually jumping out there?
Yeah, I've got a particular perspective on this, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, but for me, I find it kind of weird how Kiwi artists will put all of this effort building a fan base and building infrastructure here, and then as soon as they get some success, they leave, and it's like they're starting over again.
Yeah.
In my mind, because it's like if you're selling 300 tickets per show in New Zealand and you go to America, you're gonna have to start from scratch selling 20 again per show, you know? So it's like, it depends on what you're trying to achieve. I also find it a bit weird how like, especially with the internet now, that people feel like they need to be in America or feel like they need to be in London to have success.
Yeah.
And it's almost like any glimmer of greatness that blooms in New Zealand just leaves immediately. And it's like, I don't think the New Zealand scene is going to get the spotlight it deserves if every time someone who does something great here just leaves as soon as they get some recognition. So for me, I want to personally prove that it's possible to do it in New Zealand, stay here, and the moment I get I get my moment here, I'm going to stay in New Zealand and build infrastructure for other people to do the same, you know?
Yeah. Shit, I forgot what I was going to say. No, I remember. In Wellington, we have not this idea, but we feel that everyone should be supporting everyone and building each other up compared to just competing with one another. And just building the scene up altogether. And yeah, because I'm curious, is that the same in Auckland as well? Is it clicky? Is it like, is everyone on the come up together?
Super, super clicky. It really is. I even noticed that when I first moved to Auckland, is like outside of just music. Like I just found Auckland was really, really clicky. But at the same time, like you're gonna find certain types of people everywhere you go. So there's obviously gonna be people who feel like it's a competition in any city, and people who feel like we're all in this together as well. So I think I've done a good job of like seeing who's like trying to compete with me and who's trying to build with me, and see who realizes that we can all eat, and who thinks that if this person's doing well, that means that they're taking it out of their pocket type. You know?
Yeah.
So overall, Auckland is quite clicky, but I've managed to find some amazing people who only want the best for me, and when they see me succeed, they're stoked, and when I see them succeed, I'm stoked.
Yeah, that's good, because you always want a good bunch of people around you that you can trust, especially in the music industry nowadays.
Absolutely, bro.
One of the artists I had on about maybe like a few weeks ago, he talked about the extremely high number of artists that are around Wellington, but don't exactly have their music heard. What do you think is the biggest killer of dreams, and stopping like these, for lack of better terms, bedroom artists from getting out there?
Self-belief is the number one. Like, you don't lose until you stop.
Yeah.
But also, like, just being 100% real, most of the stuff is not that great. You need to make great music if you want to have a long career. Like, you can make a mid song that pops off on TikTok and have a song, and then you'll ride a wave for a year or two and it'll crash. But if you want a genuine career in music, there's no shortcuts. You got to put in the hard yards, figure out what your sound is, or you don't need to have one sound, but just make great music in general. And then eventually you'll get heard, you'll have fans. Like, for me, even like performing, right? I may not have the most streams in New Zealand, but I feel like I'm one of the best performers in the hip hop scene here because I've been performing for 5 years and there's no shortcut to that, you know? So really, really loving it is the key, because that's what's gonna keep you going even when you do have that doubt, and you just got to be persistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're quite a self-aware person yourself.
A what?
Self-aware.
Self-aware. I like to think so, but we all have our shadow.
And that's been a big driver, and has been a big driver with you as an artist as well.
Yeah, I think reading certain books early on in my career helped me as well, to give me like a bit of a toolkit to create the mental arsenal that I needed to maneuver the industry. And I think I always just knew that like my path was not going to be overnight success, because I want to be the J. Cole in New Zealand. I want to be the Drake. And that doesn't happen overnight. That takes a lot of time. So understanding myself and what I'm trying to do is what has enabled me to just keep going and keep pushing and keep believing that it is going to happen eventually. It's just that it hasn't happened yet because I haven't been ready for it, and it'll happen when I'm ready for it.
Yeah. When people listen to your music, what do you want them to feel, or what do you want them to think of you? And is there a message that you're trying to send to people who listen to your music?
Honestly, like, I just make stuff that is true to me. So like a song like Fight Club doesn't really have much of a message other than like it's all good to go fucking crazy once in a while. But then obviously there's certain songs like Cruising where it's like very deep and reflective, and there is a message of self-belief and persistence. So overall, obviously, I want people to get a message from my music, and hopefully get some value outside of just like being able to party to it. But I kind of want to just create everything. So sometimes it has a message and sometimes it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see yourself as a bit of a mentor to other music artists? Because when I had Takahui on,
Yeah.
he said he has had some chats with you.
Yeah.
And, given him a few pointers here and there. So do you like to see yourself as a bit of a mentor to some other artists that are coming up?
I suppose so, yeah. I feel like after going through everything I've gone through to learn the things that I've learned, I've generated a lot of specialized knowledge that usually you'd have to go through a bunch of bullshit to learn.
Yeah.
So I actually do mentoring sessions with artists, and I can help them kind of shortcut a few things, because I never really had anyone helping me out when I first started. I kind of just had to figure it out. So
Yeah.
I love to give back, and people that have good vibes and I believe in, I'm happy to just spit game and give them as much help as possible. And even if it's not necessarily the best path for them, at least they can get a perspective that maybe they wouldn't have had otherwise. So, yeah.
And what kind of advice would you give to like artists that you would mentor, or just anyone that would want to pursue a career in music?
I think the biggest advice would be is that your path is not going to be identical to anyone else's, so you're going to have to figure it out for yourself in some way or another. You have to believe in yourself, and that's going to be difficult at times. You're going to have to work really, really hard, because it's such an oversaturated market. Like, anyone can buy a microphone and a laptop and make a song nowadays. So you've really got to be persistent and put out stuff that is unique to you, because if you want a career, you have to make something unique. You can't just be copying some other guy, because that wave will crash and you'll crash. So I could rattle on a bunch of different things, and obviously it's very specific to that artist and where they are in their journey. But overall, those are like some nuggets that I think applies to everyone.
Yeah. What does the rest of 2023 look like for Eliezer?
I think honestly we're going to focus on putting out content, just stuff that will shine light on the catalogue, because I've got over 100 songs out now, and I think there's at least 40 of them that I'm very proud of.
Yeah.
And there's at least 10 of them that I think are hits and haven't got the light it deserves.
Yeah.
So moving forward, just like with the marketing stunts that I'm doing, I'm just going to try create content that I think is going to funnel people to the catalogue, and try to create value in visuals and TikToks and Reels or whatever that people are going to love, but it's also going to make them want to check out the music.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first from Eliezer himself. Thank you for being so much on the pod, bro. Wait, sorry, I think I fucked that up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the pod. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
That's good, man. All right, and that's us.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Peace.